What's going on, guys? This is Danny from Slow Restoration, and today we're going on a little trip. First thing we need to do is get in the turbo GMC. And our next stop is we have to pick up the big boy trailer. On our way to the home of the new turbo GMC to actually change trucks. We'll get hooked up to this big boy because we got a big load. And with that hooked up, we are ready to get on our journey today. So what did we buy? We actually bought ourselves a Duramax. As you can see, it needs a little bit of repair, but no rust on this truck. They're dirty, but there's no rust. Original rockers, original cap corners. The bed sides are clean. It's got some miles on it. It needs some work. But let's finish getting this thing home and we will we'll fill you in. All right, guys, we made it back. A big thanks to Mike. We're gonna unhook this. We're gonna hook it up to my truck. I'm gonna tow this home. All right, guys, we're hooked back up, cruising back home in the turbo GMC. So you can see by the bright green, and we have the truck on the trailer behind us. So let's get home and talk about this. All right, we made it back home. Turbo GMC did really good and after seeing the LLY Duramax pull the same exact load for quite a while, obviously a LLY hauls it better, but the Turbo GMC power wise is right there, maybe even better. It's just different, so it's going to do it in a different RPM range, and that kind of leads us to this truck. So these trucks are made for pulling. That's what they do. That's what they do well. Been kicking around a Duramax for quite a while. Didn't really want something quite as old, but the newer used stuff is just skyrocketed in price. So obviously this thing needs some attention, some things fixed on it. But let me get it unloaded here, and I need to go through this and see exactly, but I think this is going to be the next tow pig for the channel and for us here at Finding Fast Motorsports Garage. So let me get it unloaded. It's going to be windy, and I'll get this trailer dropped back off and get the truck put away because it's getting ready to rain, and we'll catch up with you. Jumping up inside the new truck, and it does fire right up. Get this window put down. These mirrors put back out. So the mirrors broke, obviously. One of the things we'll have to figure out. And it does have a bunch of miles, 297,000 miles. 298, you might as well call it 300. So does have some miles, but it starts up. It's got good oil pressure. It sounds good. ABS, I did take my code reader and scanned it, and it does have a wheel bearing sensor malfunction, so it probably needs a wheel bearing, among some other front end parts. But let's get this thing backed off the trailer. It does sound good. We'll go over the issues. I know it has already, and I'm sure we're going to run into some other ones along the way. So first things first, let's go ahead and get that trailer returned, get the Turbo GMC back inside before it pours the rain on it. Notice this right away, and I hate these, so we're putting the door back on. Better already. And I hate aftermarket wiring, so this thing had some switches and stuff like that. This panel wasn't all the way snapped back in. It did have an aftermarket radio or stereo head unit, whatever you want to call it, right here. It's actually a decent one, but it didn't work. I couldn't get it turned on, and like I said, this panel wasn't snapped in, so I pulled that off. The radio was literally just sitting there and not even plugged in. So all the wiring's back there, as you can see. Actually in the back there's a bunch of wirings for an amp and whatever else they had in here. So it looks like they started dismantling this thing. I'm thinking something happened, and they decided they're just trading it in and took some of their equipment out, but left that. Hopefully it's still good, so because it's a decent touchscreen Pioneer. I believe it does have Android Auto and Apple CarPlay also, so we're definitely going to try and make that work. If not, like in the Quadra and the Denali, I put actually a Pioneer similar to this in them, so we'll put something in. If not, I do have a factory stereo to go back in this, and they did not cut the factory harness. Right here is that, so that's good. So we're just cleaning stuff up as we go. We have some cleanup to do under the hood also. So as you can see from the light accident up front, it kind of pushed everything back as far as the headlights and stuff go. And they have a bunch of zip ties holding all of this stuff on. And again, under here they had some aftermarket electronics. They had an air horn wired up on here, not very cleanly, and an old alarm system. So it does have fairly new batteries in it, which is a definite plus, especially for a diesel. So we're just gonna kind of take some of this apart. I do have a front clip for one of these cat eye Chevy trucks. It's dark blue, so I would have to paint it. This one obviously is black, so we'll see. I honestly am not a fan of the cat eye. I know a lot of people are, and they're probably not gonna like me saying I think it's ugly, but I do. So I don't know, we're either gonna put our other cat eye front end on it, and like I said, do a little bit of paint work, or I would actually like to do like the 01, 02, 2500 HD conversion, which is pretty much simply bolt that front end on. But obviously from the miles on this thing was an over-the-road truck. They probably hauled a camper or a fifth wheel trailer or whatever, so they did a lot of running. You can see the rails are still in the bed here and the plug back there, so it's got its fair share of battle scars, but like I was saying before, there is no real rust at all on this thing. Rockers, a bunch of paint chips. Again, that's kind of normal for a highway miles truck. But cap corners and rockers, and even the frame is really pretty clean. This is actually, it looks like rust, but it's actually mud caked on there. So, and this truck was loaded, so it had XM satellite radio, it had OnStar, of course, as we just saw in here, it was leather, had the Bose stereo system, all that kind of stuff. We can source, I'm not a big fan of the tan interior either, and I do have some of the Denali stuff left over, so I may Denali swap this interior if I feel ambitious. But if not, we'll just get new seat bottom covers and throw on here and clean this interior up. I think it'll clean up okay, but it could definitely use a freshen up. Did jump on the front end here a little bit. That bumper being pushed back looks absolutely horrible, so it's very easy to get these bumpers off. With the grill out, there's a bolt here, bolt down there, same with this side, so there's 4 bolts straight down through. And if you look through the wheel well, the bracket comes off the frame here, there's 1 bolt there. And this did have fog lights, but since that lower section is missing, they're already gone. So we should be able to just grab this and pull it right off. There's something hanging. I wouldn't doubt if they don't have a zip tie somewhere. So let me use both hands here and try and pull this bumper off. All right, so with that off, it actually looks way better just with that off. I know it looks like we ripped the complete front end apart, but we literally have like 5 minutes into doing this. They come apart really quickly. So frame horns look fine. These little brackets that actually hold the bumper are slightly pushed in. Be extremely easy to grab them and pull them back out where they need to be. These top ones are part of the frame, so they're not going anywhere. Well, they will if it's a hard enough collision, but so far it's looking pretty good. There's some mud caked up in spots, and there's a little surface rust on this side, which really the only surface rust even on the frame of this truck, so we'll probably clean that up. And I know I was going back and forth, but I do have like I was saying before, a cat eye front clip here. So I think we're probably just going to do that. It is pushed in a tiny bit here on the aluminum radiator support, but that's just the corner there. I don't think the core support's actually bent because everything else is lining up pretty good. And I couldn't help myself. We need to diagnose this thing anyway, see what's going on with it, and this does that also, but it also adds some power, drivability, and reliability. So we got us a spade jack. We're gonna plug it in and see if we can this supposedly runs diagnostics on it. It's supposed to be pretty good at all that kind of stuff. So let's plug this in and see what we have going on with this LLY. Well, that escalated quickly. Stay tuned.